What's going on, you guys? Cameron back with another YouTube video. We're going to use ChatGPT to get some ideas for a new YouTube video. Build a mini CRM in 60 minutes. Contacts, notes, follow-ups. FileMaker Beginner Project. Why it works. It teaches tables, relationships, layout, scripts, basic UI, and reporting without getting complicated. Mini CRM. Alright, so let's build a mini CRM database. It says it wants to do contacts, notes, and follow-ups. What you build, contacts table, interaction / notes table related to a contact, simple follow-up date plus open follow-ups list, buttons, new contact, add note, mark, followed up, search plus sort, a basic today's follow-ups view. I don't know, like a follow-up on a note or follow-up on, it's interesting. 60-minute structure, setup, what we're building, tables, fields, relationships, layouts, portals, scripts. Alright. I mean, it doesn't seem very interesting to me. Let's see what else it can give me. Service work order tracker, contractor friendly, jobs, customers, features, job status, schedule date, nodes, mark complete, rental, maintenance request system, expense tracker by project, time tracker, estimate builder, document tracker. ChatGPT's not really good at giving ideas, in my opinion. We'll do the first one. I think the first one's a nice basic introduction to FileMaker. So we're going to create a new database. We're going to call this one just YouTube CRM contacts for fun. We're going to delete FileMaker will always create a table based off the name of the database. So we're going to delete that. Okay. And it was talking about creating a contacts, notes, and follow-ups. So let's try to be creative here in some way. Contacts. We're going to create a contacts table. And I think just basically a notes table. I think I would assume a follow-up would be based off of a note. I don't know why you would need a follow-up for every single note, but let's just go with the flow here. So let's say the contacts table, let's say we're going to have a first name text field, last name text field. Maybe they have a date of birth, and maybe they have sex, male or female, and then let's say they have a phone number, an email, and then in the notes table, we're going to have obviously a notes field, a contacts IDFK field for relationships. This is going to store the contact's primary key, which a primary key is an auto-generated number for every single record that you create. It's its own unique identity. Um, let's say we have also like a follow up drop down. So this will help incorporate different types of drop downs. And let's say we go to the relationships table here. So good database practice is these are the original relationship created. Every single time you create a new table, it automatically puts in a table occurrence. What I like to do is for the automatic ones, I like to come in here and label this table notes and label this one table contacts. And then what I want to do is I'm going to hold down and copy this table occurrence. But this is no longer table contacts. I want to do a layout contacts. And one single contact can have multiple nodes. So we're going to copy this one to create a second table occurrence. And we're going to say lay contacts notes. And every single contact can have multiple nodes. So every time we create a note under this contact, we want to store its identity. The contact's identity is its primary key, and we want to store that to a note because we want to say, hey, your identity belongs to this note. Every single time we create this relationship, we have to jump in here and we have to tell it what we want to do. So typically, when you have a contact, let's say you delete a contact, you typically want to delete the notes associated with that contact. You don't always want to delete other information if you're deleting one or the other, but sometimes you do. Within this relationship, when we're on this lay contacts layout, we want to be able to create notes. So we want to tell FileMaker, hey, allow creation of records in this table via this relationship. And there's another one that says delete related records in this table when a record is deleted in the other table. So when a record is deleted here, it'll also delete it over here. So we're going to select that one as well. And maybe towards the end of the video, maybe we'll do a video overview of disabling this so I can show you the background workings of FileMaker. Okay, so this is a very simple database so far. I'm going to take it a little step further, even though we're not there yet. We're going to create a list view for contacts, and we're going to create a list view for notes. Let's say we want to see all notes for whatever reason. What we're going to do here is we're going to say list notes, and you can hover over here, and the source table is still notes. So you can always go back there and find out what is this occurrence related to. Contacts. I got a new keyboard, so it's a little hard to get used to. So these are going to be my list views. And I can already tell that what we're going to need later down the line is we're going to, if we're going to have a list of all notes for every single customer, maybe we want to go to every single note list view so we can do a quick search to try to like pinpoint like what contact we need to go to, because you're never going to know that based off of just looking of a contact unless you know specifically. I know when we're on this list view, we're going to need to view a contact's name. So I'm sorry about that. I'm going to delete that one. We're going to copy contacts again. And this one is going to be called list, list notes, contact name. Okay. So I know we're getting in the weeds right now and it's starting to be a little bit more complex, but we're going to start drilling through this. First things first is we have all of our table occurrences that we're going to need as far as relationships goes to start the next level of creating actual layouts. I'm going to click OK for a second here. And we're going to go to manage layouts. We're going to delete this layout because it's one that FileMaker automatically created. Now, what I like to do in the layouts view is I like to create folders. We're going to create a folder called tables, layouts, and lists. And then sometimes we have like reports and stuff, which I don't know if we're going to get that far deep, but we'll see. So you can already see where I'm going with this. This is very neat and organized database design, keeping it clean inside and out. So we're trying to relate these to their associated names on the layout. So we have table contacts, table notes. Table contacts is associated with table contacts. Table notes is associated with table notes. We're going to open this layout setup view. And what we're going to tell it is we want this to be a table view. This is like an Excel spreadsheet. You can think about it. So we got those two figured out. And then, sorry, I got a text message. In this layout view, we're going to do the same thing, just table view. Now we're going to do a new layout for lay contacts. We're going to call this one lay contacts. It's a form view on the computer. Click finish. And let's just play along with this view for now. For sake of argument, just to keep it neat, we're going to do a text box and we're just going to call this layout contacts so everyone knows where we're at. Now, every single contact is going to have its own note section. So first we got to create the contact. So we're going to drag out first name and drag all these out. We're going to fix these little naming conventions here. Phone number and email. So maybe we'll pull these two over here. And maybe sex can be over here. Just to try to clean it up and keep it neat. You can play around the design however you like. Another thing that I like to do is I like to select each text field and create a placeholder text. First name, last name, date of birth, phone number, email, and sex. And these placeholders, when I exit layout view, it shows like a little hidden gray text field within the text box. So with that, it makes it to where you can actually clean up your database a little bit and start designing it in a way that is super neat and organized. You don't need to have first name labeled anywhere because it's already labeled in the text box. But this is based off of the cool things in FileMaker where you can design it however you like for you and your company. So let's say we're going to run with that. A couple things that we can work on here is when you have a text box, you have a control style. Within a control style, you have edit the text box, you have a drop down list, you have a pop up menu, a checkbox set, radio button set, drop down calendar, and a concealed edit box. So something that we can do is a drop down list, and your drop down list gets its data based off of a value list. We're going to create a new value list called sex. And pretty much in my view, there's only 2 sex types. So we're going to just type in 2. There's no way of reason to edit these. And within this, you can do a include arrow to show and hide list. And if you really wanted to, you can create a allow editing of value lists as well as an autocomplete using value lists. So you can start typing male and just have it autocomplete once you're done. One thing that I recommend is to go to next object. You have clicking the enter button or the return, which is tab. So you have tabbing, returning, or entering. Another thing we can focus on is our tab order set. We got 1. And right now it's jumping to the phone number, which typically you would want to do first name. We're just going to clear all. First name, last name, date of birth, phone number, email, and then sex. And then let's just say this is our first record. So on this layout, we can start typing. And the cool thing is in the sex field, if I type the letter M, it'll start to auto populate. And if I click tab, it takes me out. If I click enter, it takes me out. And if I click return, it takes me out. That's another cool fancy way of using FileMaker. Quick data entry. We're going to exit this layout. We're going to do a portal view now so we can draw out a portal for notes. And let's do so when you have a portal drawn out, it'll have a related tables. A portal has to be related to the table your layout is associated with. And we set this up. It's just asking for a few things. We set this up in this relationship graph. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to select all the ones that I know are contacts, and I'm going to color them. This is another cheat code for copying tables. You would know that all of the tables that are the same color is the same table. Contacts, so that when you're selecting them and copying them, it copies the color with it. This one's also contacts. So now in this portal, I'm going to double click it because I'm envisioning having a notes field that is nice and big. So instead of having 13 rows, I only want 5. And I'm going to pull this down so that we can have a nice big text box field for notes. And the cool thing, let's say there's a lot of notes in this, and we need to create a way of scrolling within this text box. And then follow up, we can do another drop down list. We're going to create a new value list called follow up. And let's think, what are some ideas of follow up? We can just say actual follow up, pending, let's say completed or processing. I don't know why you would have any of these on a notes field, but let's just say you can. Let's just say you need it. Okay. So now that we have this record created for myself, I am now able to create a bunch of notes within this contact. And let's say this contact, sorry, there were sirens earlier. I just like to have my security up. So I'm going to grab this out of the way. Some things that I can just think about. Let's say maybe we're not doing follow-ups. Maybe we're just doing to-dos or something like this. So this contact has a specific to-do list. Record YouTube CRM video. Contacts to-dos. And this is in process. And let's say edit YouTube screen recording. And then let's say export YouTube video. Follow up. And then let's say upload to YouTube. You would never follow up on that, but I mean, you get the idea about following up on specific customers that want things and being able to do pretty much whatever you want. Anything that you can think about in FileMaker, you can do. And this is the cool thing about FileMaker. We can take this to another level as far as maybe adding more life to this database. So let's say every time I'm going to go edit this. And let's say something that's processing. Let's say you want this field to have a color if it's equal to a value. We're going to say self equals. Let's say the field color is like an orange. So now you can see that when it's in processing, it's an orange color. Or if it's follow up, and follow up might be red, like needs to get done. So we got a lot of red here. Or let's say we had a completed one and we want it to be green. So that's one little quick tip that you can do on color coding your status symbols in a database, which is pretty cool. It gives your database a little bit of life and color and basically some key red flags like, oh, I gotta look at that. Green is like, okay, get off my back, and yellow is like, okay, we're yellow or orange is processing and we're waiting for something. We're gonna go ahead and jump to another area of creating a list view. So let's say we want to create a list of our notes. Okay, so now we have a list view for notes. And just so we can do notes. And let's say we want our list views to be fairly big so that we have a nice big text box. And let's say we want to see the follow-up status for this. Every single time you drag this text box field onto the layout and you have it selected, you have to tell it that you want it to be a drop down of the follow-up. Now, something to note is this is not going to have the conditional formatting for the status indicators of the colors that we set out in the last layout. So we're going to do a new window. We're going to go to layout contacts. And let's say I want that color over here. Instead of recreating all that, I'm just going to come over to this layout and copy it, paste it. So now that color is here. And let's say on this list view, let's say you don't want the ability to edit anything here and you just want to be able to view data. So let's go ahead and select these things, these fields, and instead of having the field entry have it in browse mode, we only want it in find mode, meaning that we can't click into the text box and actually edit. We can only do a search in find mode, and that's it. What does that look like? So if we go to, oh, interesting, it says unrelated table. Why does it say that? Oh, okay. So it says that because I copied a field from this table occurrence over here, which over here is correct, lay context nodes. But over here, we're using a table occurrence that's by itself called list nodes. So that means that the fields have to come from the same current table. So we're going to go back into this. You can see the colors there, and every single note is here. Another quick tip, let's say you don't want to see this active row. A little tip is to go into a body and it says use active row state and just say no. But let's say we want an alternate row state just to have some contrast here, which is nice. Another thing, let's say you don't want to see, is you can still kind of see when a row is active is because this text box field is highlighting. If you want to get rid of that, you can go to the delinquent fields on, or I'm sorry, delineate fields on a current record only. And doing that will always show the text box field for all the records instead of just the one that you are clicked on, which I feel like this is a little bit of a better feel and viewpoint so that it doesn't confuse you on doing anything. You're just here to view data. And the cool thing with having this notes list is because what we can do now, I'm going to go over here to the contacts and we're going to create a new contact. YouTube. I don't remember. I don't remember when YouTube came out. I think it was like 2004. Just random. We're just having fun with this now. And you can see that I've created two contacts. I got my first one and my second one. As soon as I click into this field here and I start typing, you're not going to see a new one pop up here until I commit that record. So what does that mean? So I'm going to create a new one and you're actually going to see it pop up over here after I commit it. Hello, let's do a Cameron needs to create a lot of new FileMaker YouTube videos. Tired of seeing this red thing. So another trick is if you want your database to start learning your vocabulary, you can. New FileMaker YouTube videos. As soon as I clicked out of the portal, you saw it populate over here in a list view because now I've created a new note. But over here, you're only seeing the note related to a contact. But over here, you're seeing all your notes. Let's say you had a bunch of these notes. Let's say Cameron had a lot of work videos. Another one popped up again after I committed the first field. Oh, we never created a pending color, which it's okay. Let's just say pending is nothing. The reason why it would be cool to have a notes list view is because FileMaker has this built-in quick search filter. So let's just say I wanted to find something that said camera, and I click enter and it finds it. Or if I wanted to find something that said YouTube, it finds it. Let's say recording. Let's say I want to find all my follow-ups, or let's say I wanted to find all completed. This is a nice, easy way of searching FileMaker, nice and quick. It's built in. It's easy. You don't need to learn a lot of different things. Now, granted, you need to have these things memorized, but once you do them once or twice, they become automatic. Contacts. Um, so this is a nice, quick way of filtering through a bunch of records quickly. And let's say you are searching that, and let's say you do want to go to that contact, the related contact. Well, the cool thing is all these nodes, even though you don't see it, all these notes have data tied to it, which is a contact ID of K, which that contact's ID of K is related to a contact ID, its identity. So because we know this note's tied to a contact identity, we can then go and search and go to that layout by pulling this data. So let's say we want to create it in a way that when we click on the note, it takes us somewhere. Well, the cool thing is that you can do a button setup on a field itself. And right now, our action's doing nothing. Let's see if we're able to do a basic single step, which is go to related record. Well, what related records do we want to go from? Well, we want to get a related record from, I'm sorry, we got to do it from the list lay contact notes layout. Sorry, from the lay contacts to lay contacts. Get related records from lay contacts showing using record layout lay contacts. I don't think that's going to work because the relationship's not set up that way, but let's try it. And it did it. See, this is the cool thing about FileMaker is that it will tell you why it didn't work. This operation cannot be completed because the target is not part of a related data, which is exactly what I said. So this is to try to show you that you might have hiccups during your programming stage of development. So what can we do here? Well, there's a few things we can do here. Let's go to our relationship, and we already know we're in the list notes category. And in the beginning, I told you that we're going to need a list contact name for figuring out which contact to go to. And now that we have a relationship, list notes contact name, lay contacts. Now that we have the relationship, we have no problem going to the specific contact that note's related to. And you can notice that we have no way of going to our list view if we're on the contacts table other than using FileMaker's built-in navigation system of switching to a specific layout. And we already know that this one's pending, so this one should take us to the YouTube one. So that shows you how that works there. In the same way we did list view, we can do a list view for our nodes. We can do a list view of our contacts. So another thing that we can learn here is I'm going to do Shift Command L for my layout. I'm going to duplicate the nodes layout and change it to a list contacts and change the name to list contacts. And we're going to go to this list, and it's going to show unrelated table because it was a copy of the last view. And in here we're going to create a first name, last name. Well, now you'd be saying like, oh, what if I wanted to have first and last name into one field? How can we do that? Well, we're going to introduce a calculation field. Calculation fields are typically starting with a lowercase c underscore and then the calculation kind of footprint. First name, last name. Basically telling the user what is this calculation going to do as far as combining data. It's going to be a calculation field. Cool thing with calculations is under the let's see, we have to make sure that we're doing this from list contacts, first name. This is a field script step or calculation step. This is basically saying, hey, the first name and double quotations is basically dead space or basically text. Instead of saying space, we're just going to type space. So first name and space and last name. And this is a calculation result of text. So now if we exit this, you can see how it combines the first name field and the last name field into one single field. So that allows us to delete this stuff, go in here and select the calculation field. And the same way we did a note, we can do a single step again and go to related record list contacts using the layout lay contacts. And let's say we don't want to edit this data that's in this text field, we can turn browse mode off, but in find mode, it'll allow us to enter find mode. So you can't enter this without clicking into it, and it takes us back to the contact. Can't edit anything there. So let's say now we want, instead of using our FileMaker navigation bar here, let's say we want to be able to navigate our database through this layout itself. So what we can do is we can do edit layout again, and we can create a button. And let's say this button is a button of a list. It's not showing anything because of the color. So we'll just say that's our list view. And let's actually create a script step now. So instead of a single script step, we're actually starting to design scripts. This will be go to contacts list view. And there's a script step called go to layout. What layout do you want to go to is the list contacts. Okay. And the cool thing is here is we're going to copy this down, and I'm going to create one for the list. Let's say we're on this layout and we want to go to our list of notes. Well, all we're going to do is duplicate this script. We're going to edit this script. Instead of going to list contacts, we're going to go to list notes. Looks like you can't edit the script name in that view. Now we're going to go to notes list. All right. So now when we're on these layouts, I can go to the contacts list view, or I can go to the notes list view, which is pretty cool. And we can just keep jumping around. Let's close this window. We can just keep jumping around, or we can create another contact. YouTube is awesome. Follow up. Or you can notice how I'm typing and we didn't do a auto completion. So let's go in here, select this, and do a autocomplete using value list. Well, this is a quick overview of how powerful FileMaker can get. As far as just it's based off of your imagination and just thinking of everything that you would want in a database. As far as having multiple windows, getting rid of your default FileMaker default buttons up here and default search record types. You can automate FileMaker in a way to create your own new record button, your own finding button, your own find requests, your own detailed find requests, your own relationships, your own reports, your own. There's a lot you can do in FileMaker, and this is just the basics of it. I plan on doing a full-on advanced database program around either a tractor company or real estate, only because those two industries is what I work on the most in FileMaker. I can um, actually probably shouldn't because it's actual sensitive company data with actual data records, and I don't want to leak anything. But other than that, I do plan on creating something more advanced so that we dive deep into searching, we dive deep into relationships, we dive deep into report layouts, printing, filtering, programming, AI, searching. There's so much in FileMaker that you can do. And I look forward to eventually expanding the knowledge of what FileMaker is capable of doing, and why I think, even though AI is taking over, I still think having an internal database system that allows you to customize with your company. As your company grows, your database can grow. And being able to have something as simple as FileMaker to go in there and tweak a little bit of something to have that feature that will just make the world of difference in your company, to me, I think is valuable. Not only that, I find value in holding on to your data. The fact that FileMaker server allows you to have an on-premise server, the data is on your server. You can take your server anywhere you want to go. You don't have to rely on an internet connection always. You can have it local. Um, so this is why I feel like FileMaker is still relevant today. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. And I really look forward to expanding the knowledge of FileMaker so that this is not a lost art and that people learn more about what's out there. You don't always have to have a subscription service unless you just do one thing and one thing only. But without further ado, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I know it wasn't the most advanced database, but it gives you an overview of creating layouts, creating lists, using FileMaker's built-in functions, jumping to layouts, jumping back to a list, and creating tables, creating fields for each table, and creating relationships. Well, until next time, guys, like I said, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel. And I'll see you in the next one.